Hey, hi everyone. This is Venkatramana Nandamuri, and today I'm gonna explain the movie filter website using an Angular. We developed a project on the movie filter, and these are my teammates. Myself, Venkatramana Nandamuri, and Prithvi Reddy, Avindra, Niharika, Siddharth, Gautam Kumar, and Chaitanya. These are my teammates. And when it comes to the introduction, Angular CLI, it's an Angular's official tool for working on Angular projects and initializing them. Angular CLI reduces many hassles from the initialization process. You don't have to perform multiple configurations and build tools to start a project if you are using an Angular CLI. Angular CLI allows you start a project with only one command. With another command, you can serve the project using a local development server. Angular CLI works on the Node.js. So to run an Angular CLI on your system, you should have a Node.js in your system first. Node.js is for server and develop server-side applications, while Angular is a front-end application. And in your report, we have detailedly mentioned how to install these particular applications. Next slide. When it comes to the project code description, in this project, our main theme is to allow the users to rank the relevance of movies by the choice of user selected filter fields. And the number of filter fields is limited to no more than 10. Mainly, we have filtered the data on 10 fields out of 4 or 4 release year, cast, director, and genre. If movie have the meets the above 4 filters, will have 100% relevance. If there is one filter field that is not met, we can detect that like we are detecting the 10 points from out of 100 relevance points based on what we have designed the application. Next slide. This is the main architecture which we followed for this particular project. Next slide. Yeah, from here on, my friend will continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishore. Before going to explain all the detailed explanation of the project, first I want to give you a basic overview of the project. For going to the source code, open the Visual Studio Code. Yeah, whenever we install an project into the local machine, automatically it will give some default files such as node module folder, source folder, and some index.html folder, style.css folder, and some git ignore folder, such type of files. First, I want to give the basic overview of all these components. First, going to the node module folder. Node module folder. These are all node module folders. This folder contains the packages which are installed into our application when we created a project in Angular. If we installed any third-party packages, then also their folders are going to be stored within the node module folder. Later in this course, we will see when we install the Bootstrap, jQuery, like third-party libraries. Also, it will create the automatically. It will go to the node module folders. The important point that we need to remember is we should not include these folders while we deploying our application to the production server or committing to the Git repository. If we are moving our project to a new location, then also we should not include this folder into the new local machine. We just have to run the npm install. That's it. Automatically, it will give all the node module folder structure to our project. By going to the source folder, here we have seen the source folder. In the source folder, the main function of the source folder is we have to give some components to the application. That components we will store in this source folder. It will be for every application. It will based on it will vary from application to application. Whenever the application goes to the large one, automatically it will the component size will also increase in the source folder. In our Angular application, that means this is the place where we need to put our all the application source code. So every component, service, class, modules, everything we need to put in this folder only. Whenever we create an Angular project, by default, the Angular framework creates lots of files folders within the source folder, which is shown in the below image. As we can see, the source folder contains many source subfolders and files. By going to the app folder, this is the application folder. Whenever we want to create any component, service, or module, we need to create it within the app folders. Please, we have to look the following images, that every images or any extra kind of stuff that we have to put in the source folder that we have to just take the extra file and we have to just insert all the images into that file by going to the assets folder. Yeah, assets folder, this is the folder where we can store the static assets like images, icons, etc., which needs to be copied extensively while building our application. We have to look the default assets folder which Angular framework creates for us. This is the basic folder. It will automatically create for us. We don't have to do any manipulations in the assets folder. By going to the environmental folder, next one, environmental folder. This folder is basically used to set up different environments. Here we can find two files as shown in the below image, below code. We use this file to store environment specific configurations such as database credentials or server API addresses. Mainly there are two types of environmental variables. First one is the environment prod TS and the environment TS that we have seen in the screen. While we use environment prod.ts for the production environment, while going to the environment TS, it is used for the development environment. Yeah, and going to the index.html file. In the index.html file, it mainly contains the HTML and mainly that we had already seen in the first project, that it mainly contains the head and body sections. It is the starting point of the application, or we can say that this is where the Angular app is going to be start. If you open it and we will find that there are no references in the style sheets, no JSON files or a JavaScript files, anything kind of stuff that we not seen in the. This is the only entry point to the application that we had open in the default browser. While going to the main.ts file, yeah, this is the main.ts file. This is the entry point to our Angular application. If we ever worked with the programming language like C or C Sharp, then we can compare with the main methods. So in this application, going to the gitignore file. Yeah, this is the gitignore file. Mainly, this file is used to whenever we want to ignore in this Git repository, we need to put within the this ignore files. Just we have to give the what we have to ignore the file. Just we have to write the what the files that we have to go ignoring, that we just give the section over here while going to the angular.json file. Yeah, that below that angular.json file. From based on, I think from the Angular 6, Angular CLI JSON files has been replaced by the Angular JSON files. That means if you are working with the below Angular version 6, that is Angular 5, Angular 4, that kind of stuff, we just have to lower, then we will not find these files. Instead, we will find the Angular CLI JSON files. This is one of the most important file, and it contains all the configuration of our Angular project. It contains the configurations such as what is the project name, what is the root directory, or such kind of stuff like source folders. And it contains the components, services, directives, pipes, what we are starting point of our Angular application. That is mainly the index.html file. And going to the package lag.json file. Yeah, this is the main file that the package log is automatically generated for the operations where npm modifiers, either the npm module tree or package.json. In the other words, the package.lag.json is generated after the npm is installed. If we go to the next topics, my friends will explain. By going to the package.json, this file is mandatory for every npm project. It contains the basic information regarding the project like names, descriptions, license, etc. Comments which can be used, dependencies, these are packages required by the application to work correctly, and dependencies against the list of packages which are required for application. However, only during the development of the phases. That is, we need Angular command line interface only during the development to build a final package. However, for production, we don't use it anymore. That's it. These are all the files that automatically give the Angular project when we install it into our local machine. From the next slide, my friend will go on explain the in this file we use the mainly these 7 components. We had mainly described all these 7 components. First one is the home page, hovering, click here functions, movie sorting, and submit buttons, year sorting, director sorting, detail page. Going to the next slide. From this slide, my friend will continue the talk.
Thank you, Avindra. The components that we have used here is mainly the details page.component or HTML. It is over the HTML code. In this page, we have completely designed the HTML with some classes for div bars for CSS style, merging and padding, and we have used it to AngularJS in this page, like displaying the data components, and also we have a different static images to make application more attractive. So basically, the main UI we divided into some components like IMDb rating, generally rating popularly, and IMDb movies filters. So we have used Angular component like displaying data and data components. So in detailed space component.scss, in the CSS folder we had used it to show the movies disk line by using some fields like width bar, match left and match right, but the main CSS file we have used it in the HTML file. So detail page.component.ts. In this file we have the component we have used it to type scripting. That the file we have used detail page components from importing it from the detail page. Next slide. So here is the basic workflow of the current project. So persisting the data access to services, and it goes to the further future services. So it's take from the data from future services to give it back to the persisting data access to the service. And the behavior of the subject here, the component A, component B, component C. So here basically some components we have what we are need to behave like we divided into components. Next slide. So independent component workflow. So components, other component template style. So here we divided into next slide. Yeah, my friend will continue there.
Yeah, thank you, Chaitanya. Let me explain the relevance sorting functionality. What is the logic behind that? We had shown the relevance of the movie, that is filters based on the user's input, and we have mainly 4 inputs called cast, the directors, premiere, and 2 year. And we have created a form called filter form with these fields, and it will check whether the input has whether we got the data from the user or not. After that, we allocate the relevance. Initially, we allocate the relevance as 100, and then we can check each and every field value by using the if and else conditions. Next slide, bro. In each and every condition, we will check whether the particular data is present in, for example, here the cast. If the cast is present, it's fine. If it is not, it will direct the 10 points from out of 100. And again, in the similar way, it will check for all the 4 components called directors, premiere, and 2 year, and everything. And finally, it will make the final relevance as greater than 60, and it will process. From next slide, my friend will continue, and he will give you a demonstration of the project.
Thank you, Ramana. Yeah, here we use Angular for creating this application. So my teammate already explained the core structure of the Angular folder. So here in the source folder, we are creating some different components for designing this website. So mainly we designed 2 components here. First one is the home component. So basically in the Angular structure, the initial code will be going to the index.html. Here by using app root selector, it will navigate to the app component.html. But the professor, you asked not to use the routing module. So we statically created different components, and we name it as home and detail page. So initially the home component will be called by manually. So here in this home component design, we use several elements for getting the page. So I will show the page first. So this is our home page. So this part we are going to show the tables where the list of the elements what filter will be displaying. This is some static data we just pasted here for screen space, and these are our main filters. We are going to check our relevance. So genre is one, and the cast is two, director, and from here these are the four filters. And once we click on the submit, the code will take these four inputs and will search the data based on these four inputs, and this is the home page design. So once we select any particular genre and any particular cast and the director, and from here to the ending year,
Reload the application.
Yep, let me go with the code first. So here is the code. Here is the home component design. So here we added one form, which is the form. We named it as a filter form. So in this filter form, we taken four fields mainly. Those fields are these four. Those are genre is the one, cast is the two, director, from, and the to date. So we use a two-way binding here because once we selected any data from the drop-down list, we need to bind the data to the UI screen. So this is the syntax for binding the data in the two-way model. So before we have ng model for data modeling. So this is one of the advanced feature two-way modeling. So after this, we gave one submit button. By clicking on this submit button, we are asking the user to take these four informations, these four filter informations, and search the data on this method. So once this is one more filter, like once the data is filtered, we are displaying those data in the table format in the below space. So in that we have like one URL which will navigate that particular link to other screen by clicking on this click here button. So this is the basic HTML design for the home component. So if you go for the functionality, the initial home component will be loading here. So once the component is loaded, it will initialize the constructor. These are the few constant variables we created. We are using these variables in our code. Once the component is initialized, the ng on it method will be called. This is the method whenever the component is called, this is the method it will execute. So in this method, we just asking the JSON file to load. So in this method, we are taking our data from a tmdb movies.json. We download this JSON from the internet and we place it in our assets folder. So if you go here and if you see this, we can see our complete data here. These are the data we are utilizing for our project. Then once the data is getting into this variable, then we are assigning this data to one variable called data. So and we are looping the data and splitting it based on the filter. So this is the splitting filter we use it. Then once the data is filtered, then we are pushing that data into objects that based on the filter value. So first value we are getting is generous, and the next value we are getting is cast, followed by director, and then from date and to date. So this is the main thing happening in ng on it. Once the component is loaded, these functionalities will be calling. So whenever the user click on the submit method, we are calling this filter method. So in this filter method, we are getting the data from the form. So this is the way we are getting the data from the form. So we declared a form there, right? So form name dot get, and this form control name, if you give any particular form control name, we can get the data from their particular field. So if there is that particular form control data is not equal to null, then we are doing our logic down here. So we are iterating all the data that we have in the JSON file, and we are making it the relevance as 100 initially. Then we are checking our condition here. If if the data is like if the filter form has any generous value, so we are not doing anything. In the else if the filter condition is not satisfied, then we are removing -10 from that 100 score. Similarly, we are checking that to other cast directors and from year and 2 year conditions also. If any of these conditions didn't match, then automatically the relevance value will be reduced by 10. So once all the filters is checked, then the relevance must be greater than or equal to 60 because we are checking only 4 filters. Once the relevance is 60, then we are automatically pushing those data into our down table area. So here is this is the year changing functionality. Just we use this for showing in the drop down list. And this one is the method. So whenever the submit method is called and if you click here method that we declared here. So whenever we click on this button, click here, then it will call this method. It will pass the information as index I. So here we are catching that index value, and we are passing that index for this component as well. So before calling the other page, we need to pass the data information what the user selected to the other page as well. So in order to pass the data, we are not using any routing module, so we can directly call the other component. So we are using local storage feature here. So the local storage will be storing the data source information here. So we are setting that into the local storage object. And whenever the other component load, we are getting that local storage value, and we are reusing in that particular component. So once we click here button, it will call this details page HTML. So here in this details page HTML, we are just displaying the page with the selected movie name and the IMDb rating which it has from the JSON file. And finally, we are showing our relevance value here with a progress bar. So I will come one by one. So we are showing the rating from the database and popularity as well from the database as well. So next, we are showing a YouTube link here. Initially, this is the static YouTube link because we don't have any dynamic values from our JSON file. So statically, we put this YouTube link here. So it will automatically play only one video whenever we call that component. So these and all we frame it in, we add it in an iframe to look good. So finally, we are iterating the data from the particular selector list, and we are displaying the data here. So we added one more option here, that is mouse over option. So whenever the mouse over functionality is called, then we are displaying that overview data. These are all two-way data bindings. Whenever the data change in one component, automatically the data will change in every component we are calling. So the directors names and stars names we are displaying in that mouse over event. So at last we are showing our relevance here. So for showing relevance also, we are not showing just the numbers there. We are using the progress feature which we have in this Angular. So by using progress feature, we can display a long bar where we can see the progress percentage. And coming to the TS, so here we are not doing much thing. Initially, whenever the component is called, as I said, we are calling the ng on it first. So whenever the ng on it is called, the local storage will be getting called, and we are storing the data in this variable, and we are reusing this data for the rest of the component wherever we are using. So this is the code level explanation. So my teammate will show the live demo of the application. Avindra, could you please share your screen and show the live demo?
Yeah,
Okay.
please give me the access. Okay. Yeah, so this is the complete application. Yeah, this is the UI for the for my for our application. We have to select the genre, whatever it may be. Here I am selecting the thriller. While going to the cast, I am selecting a field and going to the director. From year 1952, the 2 year it has to be the next year. It could not be the before year, so that's why it is showing from 1953. It will give the all the details regarding to that. It will only give the 10 results. That's it. Whatever the relevant future, which the relevant features is near to the high expectations, it will give the such data. Yeah. This is the movie description. Whenever we click here in the home page, automatically it will redirect to the detailed page like shown here. This is the basic overview of the movie that we have taken from the CSV file. We forgot to tell one thing, that we have converted the CSV file to the JSON file by using some online easy tools like free JSON to free CSV file to the JSON file. And the second one is we are showing the who is the director and who is the stars that that worked in that movie. For going to the next relevance, it is showing the 80% relevance, that we have selected the relevance in the two fields. That is either it may be a director or it may be a selected year. It will show based on that. Automatically 60% is the default one, whereas in the four fields it has chosen the two fields. That's it. So it is showing the 80% relevance. Yeah, this is our complete application. Yeah, do we miss anything in the project?
Gautam, I think you are on mute. Yeah, thank you, Avindra, for the demo.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.